I want to take you guys a little bit back in time. The first Wednesday in November, the year 2012, Obama is re-elected for a second term. And so I'm sitting in my apartment in Jerusalem. I call my mother and I say to her, I foresee a moment in America where left-wing or so-called left-wing anti-Semites will, and right-wing anti-Semites will come after the Jews. By left-wing, I was talking about all these campus orcs, all of the Islamists, even though they're not so left-wing. They have kind of conservative views socially. But let's pull them in with the left-wing for this purpose. And then I said on the other side, you have these kind of so-called conservatives who hate Jews and they love Schmittler and all the rest of it. And I wasn't saying that all conservatives like this. I said there's like a little quadrant of them. And the response I got was, no, it's just some idiots online. Because, she asked me, where am I getting this information? I said, listen, I see the comments. All you got to do is look at YouTube comments. And I saw comments from Muslims. I saw comments from these, now we call them groypers, woke right. We didn't have these nomenclatures for them back then. And I said, I foresee this happening. Why? Because, Obama, and I knew that Obama was going to continue to enable the Muslim Brotherhood or any allies, whether it's organizations like CARE or there's another one called ISNA in America. But at the same time, you have, on the right-wing side, people who were saying, oh, look at all these Jews in the administration. And he had people with Jewish last names. Doesn't mean they're Jews. They're Ginos, but these people couldn't tell the difference. So now you have on one side the woke rights, the people who we've come to call woke right, saying, look at all the Jews in the administration doing all these horrible things, ruining the country. And then you have Obama himself enabling Muslims. So enabling Muslims and making Jews look bad and, whatever. My friends, it only took, actually it didn't even take 13 years. It took like, let's say, 15 years. Even less, 5 years. And we saw the results. Guys, we see the results of that. Again, I'm not calling myself a prophet. By the way, one of the answers I got was, oh, America's too diverse of a country, right? These people have all diverse opinions, and they're not going to gang up on us. Because what was I trying to say? I was trying to say, maybe it's time to leave. It's time to go home to Israel. It's time to leave America, right? But here's the kicker, guys. They're not going to gang up on us in the sense that, they're all going to get together in some organized fashion and gang up on us. There's something called a horseshoe of politics, where at some point, the values or opinions or ideologies of these two groups overlap, right? Like today, guys, you have literally both Muslims and these woke right guys echoing the words of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, right? The most widely published book in the Islamic world is the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and the most widely distributed or cited book in the woke right circles is either the Protocols of the Elders of Zion or any idea that stems from that. Whether it's what they say about our holy books, whether what they say they attribute to us what we think of ourselves versus what we think of them, which is not true, right? What we think of Jews, what Jews think of themselves versus what they think of non-Jews, which is largely not true. Okay, it's essentially the same ideas coming from two different groups of people. Folks, if you go on a college campus today, you're going to find ideas from lefty kids and Muslims, the same types of ideas, just a different packaging, different lashon, different wording, different vernacular, but basically the same ideas as you would find from a woke right guy, as you would find in any rant, Twitter rant from Candace Owens. My friends, we've arrived. We have arrived at this moment. So, and you could see, right? All these now woke right guys on Twitter, I'm not going to die for Israel. I'm not going to, it's funny. No one's asking them to go die for Israel, right? No one's asking troops to be put on the ground in Iran, right? All we're asking is like, hey, just bomb a reactor, right? Or let us do it, right? However you want to slice that one, right? It doesn't matter. That's already military strategy. But the point is, no one's asking people to set foot on Iranian soil. No, it's not our war, all this kind of stuff. Folks, it's you have to be stupid, right? As if Iran has not been at war with America since 1979, irrespective of Israel, right? As if they didn't take American hostages, as if they didn't blow up this and blow up that, and attack this American, attack that American, as if there was no conflict between America and Iran ever until this moment. It's all about Israel. It's all about the Jews. My friends, you understand. This is what's being spread, and it's interesting because, and now you have a situation where everybody perceives or thinks that, MAGA is about to collapse. MAGA is split 50%, 60%. Most of MAGA is against this, is against eradicating the Iranian regime. Most of MAGA hates Israel. We even have a lady from CNN asking Trump, don't you think that there's a discord happening now in your base? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Majority of the people, either in my base or majority of America, and they polled, CNN themselves polled the American people, Republicans and Democrats and independents across the board, my friends. You know what the answer was? 80%, 80%, 80%. The question was, can the Iranian regime have a nuclear weapon? 80%, the answer answered no. We cannot allow this. My friends, so that is hardly a split of MAGA or a split of anything. It looks like the country is united on that one thing. Okay? No matter what you think of Palestinian issue or whatever, whatever. Hamas, it looks like the country is united on that one thing. This is a CNN poll. It's not a Fox News poll. It's not a, Newsmax poll. It's not a Trafalgar poll. It's not a Gallup poll. It's not a right-wing poll. It's a CNN poll, my friends. Who watches CNN, right? So, it's interesting, guys. You have these guys on largely on Twitter, and Tucker Carlson is kind of like their, he's their Pied Piper, right? You guys saw this whole video with him and Ted Cruz interview, debate. I don't know what the hell that was. And they're trying to move things in their direction. The point is, guys, there is not a split in MAGA, and there's not a split in this and that and the other. But here's the kicker. There's enough of a critical mass of people in both camps to where they can make waves. It's just like in the Soviet Union. I was telling my friend the other day. In the Soviet Union, guys, it didn't start off as a majority of people, just like in Germany. It's not a majority of people saying, we believe in this, and let's do this, and let's do that. No, it's a minority of these guys who just, propagate these ideas and propagate them and propagate them and propagate them. And there's this very solid and very concentrated movement of like 10%, 15%, maybe even 20% of a certain population. And that is enough. That is dangerous enough. And if you're talking about threatening Jewish people in America, that is enough to be a threat, my friends. That's enough. It's enough of a number, right? So, here we are, 2025, 5785. You got people who don't like us very much on the left, people who don't like us very much on the right. And the question is, guys, Are we looking at the future and what the future is? Are we looking at the fact that the greatest threat to the land of Israel is about to be eliminated, and also to America? And are we understanding now that all of our fears about living in Israel, about the whole terrorism thing, about the whole Hamas thing, about all the things that's been drilled into our heads as Jews, why we can't live in Israel because of the dangers, do we now understand that it might be more dangerous to live outside of Israel than it will be to live outside of Israel than it is to live inside of Israel? And guys, I'm not saying that that's the reason you should come to Israel. The reason you should come to Israel because it's your home, it's the land of your forefathers, it's the land of Hashem, it's it's where you can connect to Hashem more, right? At least I can only speak for myself. At least that's the idea. But if you're talking about just where you want to live in security and safety, as you guys can see, history is moving in a way, the wheel of history is moving in a way where Israel's going to be safer after it gets through this patch, right? For sure it's going to be safer. And as you could see, what's going on in America, it's going to be less safe for Jews. Just that simple equation, guys. So, just something to think about on this day, the 23rd of Sivan, when the Jews were given permission by Mordechai to defend themselves. So guys, there's many ways to defend yourself. There's many ways to be safe. One of the ways today is to come home. Because speaking of defending ourselves, we have an army, right? Again, I said before, whatever you think of what the army does or doesn't do, what it did or didn't do, or was instructed to do on a certain day, but at the end of the day, folks, for the first time in thousands of years, the Jewish people have their own army on their own land. That is not a small thing. Alright, guys. Zat Hashem, we should take care of business. And all of our enemies, whether they're left, right, Islamist or so-called Christian, which are not really Christian, which are not real Christians, the ones who call themselves, some of them call themselves Christians or not, doesn't matter who they are. We should be able to defend ourselves and realize where home is and be vigilant, and that's it. Alright guys, talk to you soon.